cool things about Tyrande that you get no matter what. The spell armor that they seem to prefer is one thing. It just, and she's still incredibly powerful. It just feels that for them, she doesn't work out the way you want Tyrande to work out normally. She still adds a lot, but I think that on other supports, it might be better for them. Might be completely wrong here. It's just an impression that I got of the last couple, or let's say the last 2 weeks, and especially with yesterday's games in mind too. But I think for Method, is a big test now. If you lose game 1 after you finally got a Medivh composition in that fashion, how do you recover mentally from that? They had a great swing of momentum yesterday in their favor. Coming into there saying, okay guys, let's try this. They get Medivh in the first game and completely shut down. It's going to be tough to start a comeback here.
Part of me is wondering why we're not getting any adjustments from them to go into Yrel. They've been banning out Yrel every single time themselves. We know Ethereal is insane on the hero, and they've had the options a couple times to go for a first pick and grab that hero themselves. So I'm kind of wondering why they're going down that route. It seems like their drafting in general has been a little bit different than what we normally get from them, and I feel like they felt like their drafts were off in the last few weeks. That's maybe why they were losing matches, but I'm trying to figure out why they are so shy from Yrel, because you look at Ethereal and Wubby, and those two were some of the best we had in the HGC when it came to those characters.
They played a ton with Yrel, so the question is definitely a valid one. It just feels that I get the impression that they don't see Yrel as a first pick for themselves, where they feel other heroes, let's say the tank, for example, being it Diablo or being it Mirrodin, is a higher priority for them. But they still don't want to give Yrel over to their opponent. That's the impression that I got so far. Every single time, because oftentimes they found themselves into a first pick position, and whenever they are first pick, it just feels that they are saying, yes, Yrel is great, but she's not first pick material for us. And once you answer that question against her, you still don't want to give it to their opponent. So that's how I currently try to explain it, but at the same time I agree with you. I feel it's a bit weird that they are, even when they are in a situation where they have, for example, second pick and they could go for Yrel, they still don't make that move.
Because you can't get rid of the Genji ban. So if you take away your Yrel ban that you're using all the time, suddenly you get slotted in that Tyrande. If you're so afraid of her, you believe that she is that strong, and now suddenly we can build out our 1 to 3 in the rotation and be able to have a solid foundation. That's why I want to see that adjustment from them, because it feels like that Yrel is taking away an instrumental ban from them and hurting so much. But you already brought up the point that they feel like it can't be their first pick. They have to adjust somehow. They've been focusing heavily on those front lines, but it just isn't paying off for them. So going into game number 2, I'd like to see that adjustment somehow.
I also would like them to adjust maybe a bit more towards their opponent in general, because I mean, again, it's game 1, right? But Maiev is a big take. Now we have Volskaya, for example, coming up. Take Maiev for yourself, but don't give it to Blake Kidney. I don't know Volskaya. It's a great map for Maiev. We've seen how much value she can get there. So I would be very weary of giving my opponent a hero that is a comfort pick, that they excel with, and that fits very well into their compositional playstyle. So try and eliminate that. That could be through a ban, it could be through a pick, but no matter how you address it, try to address not only what you perceive as meta strong and what you are uncomfortable against, but also look to what does my opponent want to play. And leftovers, they have that like niche that they really like to play. They love to play around the Maiev. They're oftentimes looking towards the Garrosh plays, or the Diablo. You kind of know what kind of route they're usually taking to a victory. So try and eliminate a couple of those choices.
Going into Volskaya Foundry, some other heroes that we start thinking about too. They have showed off Sergeant Hammer. We can have Sergeant Hammer come in for a method if they want to play that here. We've also had it for DAB. But someone else that I'm kind of keeping my eye out for is Chromie. Chromie just recently had a solid amount of buffs. Granted, you do lose out on your late game scaling that we had in our old rework, but her early game is pretty easy to stack now thanks to the Protector being able to clear that up, but also that Dragon's Breath. If you're able to connect it, if you find a Mirrodin or perhaps a Garrosh with a Malfurion setup and you lock down someone, she actually puts out some decent damage, and I could see someone like ADRD bringing Chromie back.
I feel before we see Chromie, we see Junkrat again. Yeah. Because I feel he, especially
safer
on the map,
overall.
He has... The displacement alone is just a nuisance, and you have great control over a lot of the mercenary points and the item points too. That's especially important when you're looking towards the first protector phase, when you are eyeing the biotic emitter and you eye the robot camp. And if you have a Junkrat in your team, then you own that space, right? So it's so much easier, especially if you have good frontliners or a good side laner that can also create the space there. You can be the team that makes the play for the biotic emitter, and then you head into the first objective with a really good advantage because you have that extra sustain. So I think Chromie might come in if a lot of the other options are banned out, but I think there are better picks currently in the meta that just help with overall synergy more.
Now, talking about Method in the past, we've also seen them play with a little bit of Tassadar. Is there any way that we could have double support, especially on this battleground, where we've seen it from a few teams like Dignitas maybe coming out, putting Nick on someone important like Sergeant Hammer, maybe even a Vala coming out with a double support? Could that be an option for Method?
Personally, I don't really like it too much. I feel on this map, not necessarily. If you're bringing Tassadar in these days with the double support, you're also looking towards the wave clear. And I think here you don't need it as much because the objective spawns right at the lane. So normally you can naturally push that lane out. You're not looking at quick rotations towards other lanes as much as you would do on other maps. More so than Tassadar, I am wondering if at any point with the hammer being picked up, we might actually see that Zarya coming into play again. I thought that was an interesting touch yesterday. So far it hasn't played a role, might not throughout the entire series, but it was a pretty cool and interesting move from ADRD's perspective.
One hero that I'm trying to still wrap my brain around, and one that we've seen a couple of times from Method now, is Mephisto. We actually saw Mephisto on this battleground yesterday by ADRD, so perhaps we'll get him here. He's able to control that point pretty darn well, and that cooldown reduction, as displayed by ADRD. If you're able to get those auto-techs in with Hatred, you just constantly have Lightning Novas coming out.
This is a good map for Mephisto too. This is definitely one where we could see ADRD make that play again. I think now we're going to see a ban potentially on the tank. So the question is again, no, Abathur. Duh. It's actually a brain fart on my end. Abathur obviously not really banned out yet.
I mean, to be fair, they did leave Medivh out in game number 1. If anyone were to do it, leftovers.
Okay, there's that early Maiev. Again, this is an adjustment that we talked about a bit just as we headed into the draft. From Method's perspective, take some of these picks away or ban them out. They didn't change them or banning Genji and Urel, but they picked Maiev in the first rotation. Now granted, that leaves leftovers with that choice of tanks. So they can get whatever for the front line here, but there's still enough alternatives out there that Method will get a good tank for themselves too, and eliminating Maiev here is, I think, worth the risk.
I'm surprised for the Garrosh. Granted, I know the strengths of Garrosh around the control point, you can force those combos, but I would love to see a Diablo taken away here. As Method displayed Maiev with Diablo combined, that's where we saw the Mephisto come out later. The idea is that you just get these full-on engage you completely have, you create a lot of space for Mephisto to be able to play as he would like. But at the same time, it is Mopsio with Garrosh, and it is a character that he has come back to time and time again. And when he feels comfortable in that character, it definitely shows.
Linked also with the zone control now for them, and here's the Mephisto, as expected. ADRD going into Mephisto again, loves to play the hero, especially on the map here. And Thrall again on the offlane.
Diablo ban, Wise. These 3 heroes were actually in the match yesterday. Leftovers trying to take away one element, force him onto a different tank.
Brings us back to Muradin right away, doesn't it?
Muradin, yeah. I am a little bit worried with the Muradin that we saw yesterday from Bad Benny, missing out on some really aggressive engages, not quite landing the Stormbolts.
Yeah, a lot of zoning Stormbolts.
A lot of zoning Stormbolts, which might not be so strong against leftovers.
Controlling the space.
Controlling the space.
Limiting the movement. The movement options.
Blaze gets banned out here. Wouldn't mind seeing a Johanna too. But we'll see here as we go through the 3rd and 4th picks for leftovers. Yeah,
would also work.
Is this time for a Tracer now? We've seen Tracer and Decker Kane paired by leftovers often in the past.
I would be careful with the Tracer.
I think I like it against Mephisto.
Yeah, against Mephisto it wouldn't be too bad. But again, Thrall can poke you with the chain lightning the entire time. That's already a little bit of a concern. But yeah, they bring her out. And also Junkrat, as we talked about him earlier, is now immediately there. A lot of displacement. I feel when we're talking about the biotic emitter, they definitely have the upper hand at this point.
And leftovers love their early mercenary camps. Yeah. They are one of the quickest teams to make sure when they clear out a wave, they instantly beeline for a turret, for a protector point. We see it on BOE all the time. They love merc camps.
Jimmy again, some auto attacker to also control Tracer even more so, considering that Thrall is already attempting to poke her with the chain lightning. Tyrael Whitemane. Okay, a bit old school here with that Tyrael Maiev combo that we saw coming out when Maiev was introduced to the game, trying to get the sanctification around the cage.
Tyrael always worries me.
Tyrael is one of these do-or-dies.
Yeah, and there's a decent amount of interrupts. Ooh, Arthur's coming out for the 5th pick for the leftovers.
See it a little bit more often. And A really likes to play their Arthurs, but they play in a main pair tank position quite a lot. Europe has always dabbled a little bit in that off-lane Arthurs. and it can be absolutely fantastic. The cool thing that he also adds, you have another lockdown for Mephisto's Shades whenever he's trying to throw that out. You know exactly where he comes out, and you can just simply move past the Shade and go exactly for the spot where he's going to respawn a second later, and then try and lock him down with that. And if then you have a follow-up through either Junkrat or Tracer, that's a dead hero right there. So ADR needs to be careful.
I like it with the Icebound Fortitude. You can ensure that you're going to be there without taking too much damage and also too much CC coming your way. That's actually a really clever way to deal with the Mephisto. So looking into these drafts here, I think the Tyrael is what frightens me the most. It's just going to depend on how bad Benny plays it here. But overall, both drafts looking pretty solid. The thing that kind of tips me over the top here, DAB on Tracer. I will never go against him ever anymore. There was one game in particular where I thought he would just completely feed, and he carried. So ever since then, I'm always in his side of the camp.
I don't remember the seriously, but it was a BOE game, right?
It was like Hanzo Thrall, and he was like going into it, and I was like, and there was like double front line for protection. I'm like, there's no way, and he just destroyed that match, so I'm always going to vote for him.
It was also the BOE game that they played against Dignitas, which really impressed me. Where he just zoned out Hammer the entire time, got kills there, got kills against Li Ming, I think it was back then.
Stupid.
It was absolutely crazy. Game 2. Coming up in this series, and to the left side, the leftovers with a linked on a Deckard Kane, the 1-0 lead for the blue team, with Junkrat played by Blake Kidney. 40 boss on the off-lane Arthur is going to rhyme as level 1 talent. We have Mopsio on Garrosh, second time in a row. And DAB on his trademark hero, playing Tracer.
To the right, Bad Benny playing Tyrael. Curson will be on Whitemane, Nick on Maiev, Ethereal on Thrall, and ADRD here to show us some hatred with Mephisto.
I'm worried for Method. I'm not going to lie here. The last game showed a great draft for them, but Leftovers played well. Now we have Arthurs to first of all make ADRD's life harder when he throws out his Shade. But also, Thrall, of course, is absolutely going to get controlled quite well by Podibos in those team fights if he gets a good position on him and can literally just walk him down. I feel like a lot of this comes really down to Curson and how much with Whitemane he's going to be able to sustain his team through burst damage.
And Ethereal's positioning for sure. I like how you point that out there. Bloody Boss already speaking about positioning. A bit of trouble down here on the bottom left. It should have a Death Boy on second to heal himself, but will he be up in time? No! And Link, who was in the middle lane, rotating down, couldn't get there to drop off a potion. And first blood awarded to Method.
Yeah, Nick here on Maiev. Like, our eyes have to really be, I feel, on Nick and on Whitemane. Those are the two that I'm looking towards. How much of an impact can they have here? Now, ADRD on his Mephisto, if they can create space for him so he can get the damage out, we know that he can make the plays. But yeah, there's so much to keep track of. I mean, I'm talking about Nick on Maiev and about Whitemane, but at the same time, as you pointed out earlier, how much of an impact is Tyrael really going to have here? It's one of those do-or-die comps where Tyrael can, in the hands of a good player and with a good proposition, look absolutely terrifying. But when he gets shut down, it's tough to come back into it.
I mean, he's also a terrifying hero to play into these double tanks available. I mean, Mopsio is going to be staring at him the entire time. When Bad Benny, who I assume is going to be going to Sanctification, steps up and goes for that massive Sanctification, allow for Maiev to engage, the taunt should come out. And the taunt animation is slightly quicker than the Sanctification popping out, which means Leftovers, if they're on time, should be able to interrupt that. And if that happens to Tyrael, typically he gits blown up as that Sanctification will go on a 10-second cooldown.
It's going to be an easy Judgment Sundering onto Junkrat.
Yeah, that's the play right there.
Go full, yeah. Sanctification, what is that?
Wait a minute, Sundering, Judgment, Souls coming out all at the same time? That'd be a dead Junkrat.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can try and make that play, but I don't think... First of all, if you would try and use that, you would play around very big cooldowns to have those kill opportunities, and I don't think that's really worth it. When with all the space that you want to control, when you're looking at the objective itself, Sanctification is just such a powerful tool, especially with the cage as a setup, that I don't think you would be willing to give that up.
Yeah, and it'll probably work once, and then after that happens, Junkrat just plays completely safe.
Yeah.
Plays around his grenade cooldown, he'll sit back in the entire time. Tracer will hold on to recall. Your only target you can maybe go for is Zikr Kane, but if he gets a full Tornado before that, he should be fine.
And even Deckard Kane is tough to kill with that setup, and everyone else would survive. So yeah, I would be shocked to see that. It would be kind of fun, but at the same time, I more so expect that we're seeing more zone control. Could see the Earthquake on Thrall even over Sundering. The Mephisto is going to get value out of it. Tyrael, of course, with the Sanctification. But Method is going into this first objective with an advantage. They got the extra item. They have the Healing Beacon. And now it's just a matter of who is going to take the lead in the second game.
Constant poke to both, and we have Mephisto come over. ADRD will be looking to grab those Lightning Novas. Here we go, stepping up. Leftovers instantly try to hug him there. Tracer puts some damage out, but the shields aren't enough for ADRD to come back.
Boss in trouble on his Arthas. In comes ADRD with a Shade. Lockdown attempts against Benny in particular, and he goes down. Wants to counter kill though against Mopsio, and they get it. 1-for-1 trade with now the Biotic Emitter on the ground to sustain Method through that first fight, and they are starting to take the lead on the objective progress.
Solid trade value there from Bad Benny. He'll be back in a couple of seconds and head straight to the point, but as mentioned, Method is now starting to take a lead, 17% to 0, while Leftovers try to take it back while they grab the turret to the bottom right. And think about this too, is if Leftovers don't head over to their turret soon, Method will have the opportunity to also potentially go for an invade or fully commit to the idea of taking this point.
Yeah, invade would shock me a little bit, at least for the time being, but they could actually try and get body balls here. Thrall goes down again. DAB finding the kill here. Ethereal Angel dying as Tracer. I mean, screw DAB. This guy is insane. Seriously, like, he finds always kills every time. DAB is the nightmare of any observer out there.
Yeah, you see him just blink once and you're like, oh, he's not going to kill Thrall. There's no way he's near a turret. He can't get that kill. And DAB says, no, he is 2 pixels over to the left that he needs to be right now. He's dead.
Production, we need a cam. We need a Tracer cam.
A Tracer cam. DAB cam. Just constantly on him the entire time.
We just need a Tracer cam. There's no other solution. This is the only play that we can make.
Leftovers find themselves with a lead thanks to that kill as they grab the control point at 67% to 47. Method, however, now finally has all 5 back. Junkrat will take some time to push in the top lane, but Leftovers is about to converge on the middle point here soon, just waiting for Junkrat to rotate over while Mephisto works on clearing the top. Oh no, Mephisto comes back to the middle. He knows that he has to fight here.
Yeah, they're going for this one. Already, Bad Benny trying to move on to the point. Here comes the Shade. Mephisto throwing that out with a Lightning Nova. And he has Arthas. As we said before, he's always waiting for him to pop back in and then uses the root. Turret play already in. ADRD with another Lightning Nova. Benny in trouble. The bomb comes out. He goes down. The tether is in though. And he tries to get some explosion value. Finds it against Mopsio, but it's not enough to secure a kill.
Mopsio trying to stay alive though. Link needs to pop out those potions as much as he can here. Nick is throwing back through in the second time too. Nick finally down. Leftovers. Low on health but fully alive. Chasing members back as Method has to run back to the middle fort. And here's the issue. Leftovers during this entire engagement has cleared out 2 waves of experience that Method could not soak. They got multiple kills and they're looking to grab this point and take over the Protector, which will put them over 10 and they're going to jump up in experience.
Yeah, they are going to absolutely dominate with that first Protector. Having not only the Protector, but also level 10 abilities at the same time is an absolute disaster for Method right now. And how do you play around that? Already heavy pressure here in the middle. We're seeing Arthas at the bot lane. We're having the Soul towards the top through Junkrat. Method is trying to be aggressive against the Protector. Burn the objective down. Try to take the robot. Something, but it's not going to be easy, and that's an easy kill against Whitemane. Get wrecked, son. In comes the mech, and down goes Whitemane.
DAB going for the chase here. Nick with the pulse bomb and Yahtzee as DAB gets another kill.
The Tracer cam successful.
1 fort down, 11.5 in experience. Method not having 10 yet. Thrall was able to defend the bottom lane, but with the fort in the middle finally cleaned up. Leftovers will move the Protector to the top, and they still have 20 seconds left on this puppy to do more damage.
They take the fountain out, they prep the top lane, they got the fort in the middle. It is brutal. Method is getting demolished, and Bad Benny finds himself on the wrong side of that little argument here. Still able to move out, has enough mobility on Tyrael to always jump away with the no runes too. But that's a 2-level lead. 2-level lead, fort in the mid lane gone. Position claimed. And now, of course, even the space tools with Junkrat to maybe make that play for the Biotic Emitter again.
Looking over.
Disc, by the way.
To ADRD. Disc coming out. We also have Durance of Hate as well. So looking to get a quick 5v4 and take out a target. Walk down one. Sank. Mopsio.
Barely gets out. Mopsio gets out. Every ult is being popped here. In the back line, Boss are trying to go for it. A triple Howling Blast. Arthur's doing work. Benny, again, low. Needs to be cautious here, but he falls. Tries to get the value with the explosion against Mopsio. Finds it, but it's again not enough to get a kill. It's 2, it's 3, it's 4. They're all going down here. They go for ADRD, and that's going to be a team wipe as Mopsio and friends just show no mercy here. Method gets wiped, and the Leftovers have taken full control of the game. A 2.5 level lead, a talent advantage. They go for the items. It's a disaster.
Oh my rip tire. Tyrael gets cleaned up in the bottom, and Method tried to salvage the fight by grouping up and focusing one target. They were looking at Garrosh, but Junkrat held on the rip tire for the entire duration of that fight, popped it out the last second, hitting 4 members, and that was the end of the team fight for Method. Leftovers cleaning up everyone, and now taking everything on the map. Support camps, turrets being picked up, looking to even start pushing in at a 4 on the bottom. They have everything they could dream of to win this game.
It's so far it has been. I mean, we're looking at 11 kills against 2. And this is absolutely insane.
Bad Benny.
Okay. Benny getting a little bit unlucky there. That didn't really happen. I mean, no consequences in that, but yeah, it's just adding insult to injury here.
They got a turret. Garrosh is coming over here. Druin just came out. Looking at Mopsio, DAB poking where he can. Massive taunt to connect. Lornado to separate them. Mopsio trying to retreat away. Curson comes in, gets a pulse bomb, and there's a parting gift too. It's Christmas.
They're going in. Down goes Whitemane. They want more. Link is low. Finally killed for Method. But Ethereal falls, and he's not the only one. Mephisto is biting the dust. So is Maiev. Bad Benny is on the run. Might barely escape here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have children watching, make sure that you shield their eyes and send them to the room, because this is a bloodbath.
This is a pretty destructive game here for Leftovers. 15 kills to 5. Method able to save Tyrael on that last team fight, but they will not be able to save this fort in the top lane. And guess what? We're only at the 2nd control point in the game, and Leftovers has a 4-level lead, Caldor.
Method is getting a ruffle stomped here. It's honestly brutal to watch. Leftovers is absolutely walking over them, not respecting them whatsoever. It's the DAB show when it comes to the isolation kills the entire time. Mopsio just doesn't die. Gets taunts off that are out of this world, and Method has just at some point said, okay boys, YOLO. Game plan from here on out is just go full YOLO, try to summer win the fights, play around our AoE tools, and just try to win these team fights. But now they're finding themselves in a few seconds 2 talents behind. 2. 10 minutes into the game.
They're hoping for a big surprise here to get a 5v4, even with the 2 talents down. Garrosh seeps on by. Ethereal waiting for a target. Kane would be the one that he would want to jump on. He sees Link. Bunny Bus comes around from the side, but DAB's already got some decent damage out. Yeah,
Method is already looking for the Christmas present here, but Sana is just simply saying, boys, I am good, but I'm not that good. Curson is again isolated. He's not even the first one to die. Mephisto is body before that happens. Nick also dying as Portibos literally just runs him down with Arthurs, and the flank is already on the way. Portibos on the move, gets slowed down for a second. Benny moves out as we see Leftovers going again for the objectives here. In the meantime, Blakidne is the sad one that has to stay up at the top and can't fight with the rest of the team. And that is 18 kills against 3. 11 minutes into the game. We have basically 2 kills per minute here.
Leftovers maybe trying to get another pick on Bad Benny here, but now setting up for a big push in the top right lane. We're going to have the Protector coming out, and they can definitely make a play for the keep. And if they can find a kill or 2, they can certainly go for core. Leftovers already grouping up, and Method setting up for a miracle defense. They need to find a kill. They gotta land a containment disc. They've been going for Arthas and then try to blow someone up, but they have had such a difficult time doing that.
Leftovers is on their way to just destroy. 4-level lead. This is... It's tough. If you're a Method fan, this is not a game that you are going to be happy with. They are just getting destroyed here. Leftovers move in. They want the keep. They want more. The Reptile with the damage again. Portibos claiming the space with Arthur. It's not allowing for anything. ADRD gets locked down. Here comes the Sanctification. Trying to defend. And they go for Arthur. It's good sundering, but Arthur's still surviving. The disc comes out of Maiev, but it's just simply not enough. Nice move, though, against the Protector.
Method does hold on, though. They are still alive, and they will retap. Defender advantage coming in here. DAB getting the shields from the Protector. Nick steps up, and he's looking for a massive tether. If he could just find one, they can try and defend this.
Again, nearly taking on Tyrael here. Benny barely surviving. Look at Curson. They're all so low. They might defend for now, but in the long run, can they really establish this somehow?
You gotta watch a glove.
They lost the keep. They lost 30%. It's insanity. Leftovers are just out of this world in the series.
So if you're Leftovers now, playing for 20, I mean, you're Gosh, you still have a full talent advantage. 5-level lead continuing to be here.
Is there a rule that I'm not aware of that if you win with a 5-level advantage, you get 2 wins instead of 1?
No, there isn't, but there should be.
There should be.
2019, new rule coming in. Nick finds the tether on Pody Boss, and Method's going to keep up with his full aggression all in. They just have to. This is all they can do right now. Try to force fights, try to find one pick.
Yeah.
Mopsio ready for it, though. Another taunt comes out. Boom, White Wing's done. Potty Boss tossed it straight on top of ADRD. ADRD, please get off me! But Thrall picked off in the top left.
The Riptide to the face, and then the kills against Thrall and Mephisto. And this is just Leftover saying, okay, boys, we're done with this. 4-level lead, 21 kills against 3, not even quick matches that one-sided these days.
Very brutal, showing just how much Leftovers have grown, but also at the same time where Method has fallen apart as a team, not fully being able to pull it off here. This front line as Tyrael just isn't enough against the double warrior for the Leftovers, and now Leftovers going for the killing blow as they focus the core. It drops down to 30, 20, 10, and eventually down to 0. Leftovers in the playoffs go up 2-0.